What's up, folks? I'm Dwayne, and this is Blackboard Gaming, where I teach you about all these great board games that are out there, waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complicate ya.
Hey everybody, and welcome to my board game wrap-up video for the month of August. August has been a crazy month around here with Alicia. School's about to start, so she's been spending the whole month preparing, buying supplies and making sure she's all set. And, with me having to work extra hours at work, and then also us taking last minute trips to certain conventions. But I managed to get 16 games played this month. So without wasting any time, let's get right to it. The first 3 games I want to talk about is games that we saw at Gen Con. Now, 2 of those games we purchased, and 1 of those games we played as a demo. So the first game is a game that, we went to Gen Con last minute. It's only 4 hours away from us. And the game that I wanted to pick up was a game called Kites. And I wanted that game because I was really interested in the theme. So in this game, we are cooperatively trying to keep kites up in the air. And the kites are represented by these sand timers. And we lose the game if any of those sand timers run out. There's like 6 sand timers. Red, purple, blue, orange, and yellow. And then there's a white sand timer that acts as a wild. And we are playing cards which has different color kites, and then we have to flip that sand timer that matches that color. And like I said, we lose if any of those sand timers run out, but we win if we go through the whole deck of cards. And I've definitely picked this game up, and since then I've been playing it all through the month of August, and I've been showing it to different groups of people. I even showed it to the cooks that work with me at my job. And we had a great time playing this game. And there are certain games that you have in your arsenal that you use to introduce, bring people into the hobby. And Kites is one of them right now, and I'm really loving this game. The game has art by Beth Sobel, and that's Kites. The next game is a game my wife actually bought at Gen Con because she was really interested in the theme. And that game is called The Spill. Now, she hasn't played it yet. I played it, set it up to make sure I'm able to teach her how to play. And in The Spill, we are cooperatively trying to rescue wildlife from an oil spill. And the oil spill is represented by these black dice that we drop into this tower that's in the middle of the board. And when the black dice go into certain sectors, then we're sailing our boats around trying to get wildlife, make sure the wildlife doesn't get affected by the spill. And we lose there are a couple ways we lose the game, like if too many animals end up in the sick bay, or there are too many spill outs around the board. But there's like 3 things that we have to achieve, and there's different, we draw a card which gives us 3 things that have to be done in order for us to win. And there are different cards like that. So the game has some variability. And I enjoyed this game. I think this is a great cooperative game to play with young people, because it gives people a sense that they're trying to help out the world, And I think that's why my wife really was interested in this game. And so The Spill, I really do enjoy that game. And I can't wait to show, for us to play it together. The third game is a game that we just did a demo of. And we didn't even play a full game. We played like 2 rounds. And I wanted to finish the game, but like I said, we were there for just 1 day. So we wanted to try to take in as much as we can. And that game is called Skate Summer. Now, in Skate Summer, we are skateboarders and we're skating around the city, and we're playing these cards that, to make combos. And our player board has a balance meter. So the card might have you go left or right, but then after you play the card, you roll dice, and see if you can maintain your balance, because the dice may make you fall off your skateboard. And I really like that aspect of the game because it has a push your luck, element like you would see in Quacks of Quedlinburg, and I really like the color scheme. It's a little busy, but it's very colorful. And I really, after 2 rounds, I wanted to buy this game, but of course they were sold out. And so that was kind of like a bummer. But when this game comes out, it's by Pandasaurus Games. And when this game comes out, I will be picking up a copy of this game. And that is Skate Summer. So the next few games are games that I played with Alicia. Now, one I've already mentioned, which was Kites, but there are 3 more. Now, 2 of them is games that I've already talked about, so I'm not going to spend too much time on those. But then one was a game that we took off my shelf of shame. I've been wanting to play it. We finally got it to the table. So, the first game is Guild of Merchants Explorers. We did a review for that game. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. And I'm not going to say too much about it other than this game is in, contention of being one of my favorite games of the year. Now, the other game is a game that might be her favorite game of the year, and that is Floriferous. So, we were at our local board game store, and this really nice gentleman walked up and recognized us from the videos. His name is Ryan, and we talked about certain games that they enjoy or whatever. And then at Gen Con, we inadvertently met his wife Emily, because they both came to Gen Con. And so we connected, and we decided to get together on a Sunday to play a board game, which I was really looking forward to, because they are like heavier gamers like myself. So I was kind of like, let's see if we could pick a game that's light enough where we would get to know each other at the same time. So I asked if they had played Floriferous, and they hadn't. So we brought Floriferous up to the store and got to know them. They are really, really great, nice people, and I think Ryan ended up winning. And so my wife came in second, which she was happy because I didn't help her at all. So that we really enjoyed that game. Floriferous, she loves that game. And so, like I said, that's it. I'm not going to spend too much more time on that. The last game that Alicia and I got to play is a game that I've been wanting to get off my shelf of shame for a while now. And that game is called Mandala Stones. So in Mandala Stones, it's an abstract game where we have these artist pieces, and we're moving around this board, and where we place it, we collect stones that have patterns that match that artist, and we placing it in towers on our personal playboard. And so there's 2 actions to take. You pick, which is the one I just described, or you can score. And when you score, you either can score take stones of the same color off at least 2 of the towers and place them on this central board, and we score points that way. And we also score points based on the stones that we're taking off our board. The other way we could score is just taking the top stone off the board, and we score 1 point for each of those. And I really did enjoy this game. I'm kicking myself that I waited so long to play it, but it's a really easy, but it is an abstract game. I don't think it's a lot of variability, but I think it's a game that I would definitely play again. So that's Mandala Stones. Speaking of shelf of shame games, the next 2 games are games that I played solo, just so I could get an idea of how these games play. Now, the first one is a game that I picked up at PAX, and I'm just now playing it, and that is Lunar Capital. Now, in Lunar Capital, we are building up a base out on Mars, and how you build up that base is you draft cards, and also you draft tiles that have certain buildings, and you end up scoring points based on how you put those buildings in adjacency to each other, or if you have the most of these buildings or rocks that's on your board. And so when you build out your lunar, your lunar area, you can only have three rows of cards, and those cards can go as far as they want, but they have to be in sequence, because each of these cards has like number like 1 to 10. So if you put down a 5, you can only put 1 through 4 over to the left of that card, or 5 through 10 to the right of that card. But there are ways to mitigate that by these little space cards that you put on the cards. Now, I love the puzzliness of this game. And it kind of reminded me of Cascadia in a way, because in Cascadia, you draft your hexagonal landscape tile and that animal token. Same in Lunar Capital, you draft your landscape or your area, the card area that you want to put down in your lunar area, but you also draft building tiles. The cool part about Lunar Capital, as the rounds move on, you have to draft more. They add another tile. So in the first thing, you're drafting just 1. The next, you're drafting 2. Next, you're drafting 3. And you have to be able to place them on your board. So it forces you to like, okay, where am I going to put this tile? So I really do like this game, And like I said, I only did it solo, so I'm interested in how it works playing with other people. Now, the next game on my shelf of shame is a game that I bought because I was really interested in the uniqueness of the theme, and that game is called First Rat. Now, in First Rat, we play as rats who, we think that the moon is made of cheese. So we said, okay, we need to do something about it. So your goal is to try to build a rocket by moving through this junkyard, grabbing, junk pieces, cans of peas, or, other stuff in order to build sections of your rocket. And I really did enjoy this game. It's like a race to get to the end. You want to become the first rat. Now, are you actually going to get to the moon? Probably not. But it's just a really cool thing for a game, that stands out. It's not really pretty, but of course you're in the junkyard, so oh well. So that's First Rat. The next game I want to talk about is a game called Vindication. Now, I just revealed Vindication as being my number 11 of my favorite board games of all time. Now, before I go into Vindication, I need to say, that video got so many views, which was I was not expecting. So I want to thank everybody who have watched that video. Who knew top 10s were that popular? But anyway, Vindication is, like I said, my number 11 game. And as I talked about it, I found myself I want to get this to the table. I need to play this game again. And it just really reminded me of why I love this game. It's a fantasy game, but it's like Euro style. You're just pushing cubes. And you're grabbing, you are scum. Okay? And you've been thrown off this boat, and you have found, washed up on this island where you are discovered by this guy who becomes your companion, and you are traveling through this on the board, trying to, visiting different places, trying to gain strength and inspiration and knowledge. And you're using that strength and inspiration and turning it into courage, and use that courage to go fight monsters. Or you're using your inspiration and your knowledge to turn it into wisdom. And you're using that wisdom, I believe, to get traits or whatever, and you're using strength and knowledge to turn it into, I cannot remember what it is, but you're using that to gain relics, and you're trying to become vindicated, and you're getting more companions, and you're just, it's just ways to score points, different ways to score these points. And also, it has an area control aspect to it. And like I said, I'm not really a big fan of area control, but I do like it in this game. I think I don't like area control because I'm not like tactical when it comes to that. So, but Vindication, I really love the game. It is a beautiful game, beautiful art. I just love this game. The next game I want to talk about is a oldie but a goodie, and that is Quacks of Quedlinburg. So I went to visit my board game store, and it was a group of people I knew that was sitting down, and they was just getting ready to play Quacks of Quedlinburg. So I joined in, and that game is just so fun. You are building up your potion, and it's a bag builder, push your luck game where you are drawing ingredients from your bag and placing it in your potion, and you want to make sure that you don't bust. And you can stop or you can keep pushing your luck to get more points and to get more money or to buy new stuff to put into your bag. You're buying more ingredients. And Quacks of Quedlinburg is just we had so much fun playing that game. And that's another game that I will say, that I would love to introduce to different people, just so they can understand, like, this board game hobby is really, really fun. The next game is a game that I introduced to the same group, and that game is Scout. Now, Scout was one of the hot games at Gen Con. I had already had it a few months before that. And in Scout, it's just a card game. And I explained to people, you playing cards, you're trying to get rid of all the cards in your hand. And you do that by playing something that's stronger than the active cards that's on the table. So if somebody plays an 8, then you either got to play a 9 or you got to play 2 cards, and those cards either have to be a pair or they have to be in sequence. So it could be a 2 or 3, 2 and 3 or whatever. And then the next people, they're trying to do the same thing. Now, the other thing you can do is Scout, which if you don't have anything in your hand to play, you can grab a card that's on the table already from either end. So if it's a single card, you just grab that card. Thing is, you got to give a point to the person that played that card. Now, I love explaining this game to people because I purposely wait until the end, like explain them, like draw your cards, deal them their hand of cards, and then when they pick them up, I tell them right then and there, you cannot rearrange them. And the look on their face is hilarious. I like, no, the only thing you could do is you could turn them up or down. That's why they got numbers on both sides of the cards. But you cannot rearrange the way your cards are dealt. And so they're like, okay, this is going to be interesting. So the people that I introduced this to, they really enjoyed it. And they said, we got to play this again. And that is Scout. The next game is my favorite game of all time, Everdell. I'm just going, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that game. But I had a former co-worker who I had not talked to in a while. And she used to come over to the house and play games with my wife and I. And so she was in India. She went to visit India. And when she came back, she called and she's like, hey, do you still go up to the board game store to play games on Friday? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, I'm free. Let's meet up. So we met up there, and I just brought a game. Like, there were so many games I wanted to show her, but I said, no, let's just play a game that you already know, because she, I've already taught her Everdell and she loves Everdell, and I brought that game up there, and I'm still discovering combos in that game, So it was beautiful on the table, and I every time I look at it, I'm like, this is why this is my favorite game of all time, and that's Everdell. So I got 4 more games to go, so I'll make it quick. Now, these games, well, one game is not new to me, 3 of them are. So the one that's not new to me is a game called Dead Reckoning. And so one of our board game group, he wasn't there when we played it the first time. And, so he wanted to play that game. Now, Dead Reckoning, first of all, I love pirates. I love the card crafting system in this game, Now, but the game has area control, and like I said, I'm not good at this game. I don't know. Maybe I get caught up in crafting my cards so much that I forget what's going on out on the board. But I'm just really not good. I haven't done well, and it's not about winning. It's just at least doing well. And so it's my turn coming up, and I told him I want to play Dead Reckoning again because I need to figure this out. I need to get more tactical in this because in Dead Reckoning you're moving to islands, and then you're taking control on those islands by placing blocks on those islands. And if you get the majority of the blocks, then you get to put a permanent cube, on that island. And so while you have control, you can build up like a fort or a cannon that takes a pot shot at somebody's ship coming through there. And I just want to get better at this game because, like I said, I love pirates, and like I said, I love the card crafting, but I'm just not good at the area control type aspect. So, but that's Dead Reckoning. I still like the game. So I was finally introduced to Boone Lake, which, a game by Alexander Pfister. Now, I really like Great Western Trails. I really love Maracaibo. Cloud Age, I wasn't a big fan of that one. But I really wanted to try Boone Lake out. And because I was attracted to the theme, we're pretty much pioneers who have discovered this new land, and we are settling this land, raising cattle, and we have a boat that's moving down this river. And I noticed that in all of Alexander Pfister games that he always has, you're moving down something. Like in Great Western Trail, you're moving up the trail. Maracaibo is like a rondel, you sailing around the islands or whatever. And I did enjoy Boone Lake. It can be a little long, but I did enjoy Boone Lake. And I think I did pretty well in the game. I don't think I won, but like I said, as long as I do well. And I like this game. And that's Boone Lake. The next game that I was introduced to is a game called Founders of Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan. I just want to make sure I'm saying that right. So in Founders of Teotihuacan, it is a tile placement city building game. And what we are doing is we have these action discs, and we are placing it, we have a certain number, and we could place 1 or 2 or 3 of our action discs on a certain spot, and that will affect how powerful that action is. We're trying to get, a certain tile to place onto our board. And our board is split up into 4 quadrants. And in the middle is where we're building our pyramid. Now, the thing is, you got this little architect that's rotating the board. And if, in order on a certain, depending on where your architect is, you can only build on that side of the board. So there are certain tiles that will grant you resources like gold. It's gold, stone, and cacao, and you are spending those resources in order to build sections of your temple, depending on the power of your action, where you place your action disc. And, I enjoyed this game. I like the complexity of, only being able to build on the side where your architect is. I don't think it would be my first tile placement game that I would choose. Like if somebody said, let's play a tile placement game, it would not be one of my first to choose. Also, when I play this game, it just makes me want to play the original Teotihuacan, so which I revealed as being one of my favorite. I think it was like my number 9 or 8 or something like that. And Teotihuacan, Founders of Teotihuacan, yes, I will play this game again. If I'm asked to, yeah, I will play it again. But that's how I feel about it. I enjoyed it. The last game that I was introduced to is a game called Catherine City of the Serena. I hope I'm saying that right. You know, Tsarina. Okay. So in this game, it's set in Russia, and we are trying to please Catherine the Great. We are playing cards. And the cards have two different things. They either give you resources or they have an action. And what you do is you play a card out in front of you, and then you play a card, and then you play a second row of cards. And so the second row, if it's the same color, it needs to be the same color, and it activates the action that's on the card in the top row. And the actions you could take is you're placing your buildings out onto the map. You know, it has an area control aspect, or you're moving up this certain track that gives you benefits as you move through the game. And also they're like cannons and books that are on the top cards. And if at the end of the round, if you had the most cannons, you get some points. If you had the most books, you might be able to place a house somewhere. And this game kind of reminded me of a game that I played earlier in the year, Brian Boru. But like the card play was different. But what you're doing, it's a trick-taking game, but you're also trying to put houses out onto the map or move up certain tracks or whatever. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this game. Like, I was intrigued by the card play, but you know, the theme behind it, because from what I hear, like my wife, she's the history buff, and I hear that Catherine the Great wasn't like really that great. So, but you know, I did enjoy it. You know, so I'm just gonna leave that right there. You know, like I don't know how I feel about the game, but it is a game that I did play, and I did like the card play of the game, and that's Catherine, Cities of the Serana. So those are the 16 board games that I got to play in the month of August. If I was to pick a favorite, it probably would be Kites. I mean, I played it so many times, and I really enjoyed my plays of this game. And I think that's only because I didn't get to play a full game of Skate Summer. Because I like I said, I really did enjoy Skate Summer, and I'm definitely picking that up when it comes out. Now, in the comments below, let me know what games did you get to play in the month of August, or what are your favorite ones favorite games that you played. And it could be something new to you, or it could be an old favorite that you just cannot get enough of. And if you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe. I have a presence on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and like I said, this has been my board game wrap-up video for the month of August. I'm Dwayne. This has been Blackboard Gaming, and I will see you next time.